Hey everybody, my name is Sharon McDonald and I am here to host our Golden Draft Call. I want to welcome all of you who are here live and want to welcome those of you who are going to join us via replay. We are not here to diagnose or prescribe, and I just wanted to welcome anyone who wants to join this call. You can do so. The information is down below in the description. You'll have the information of when we host it. It's every Wednesday, and we want to thank you for attending. I also wanted to thank everybody who's hosted while I was in Europe. It is really meaningful to me to have that assistance. And we got a lot of good information. I was excited to be able to listen to those replays. I want to thank Renee again for all of her time and effort. The purpose of these calls is to give really quick tips that you guys can know and understand a little bit more on product depth and understand the importance of, paying it forward in your own life, using these for your own family. And as part of the leadership that I've always tried to make sure that I have in this business is to relate to people that everything we do in our personal life at home carries over into our business life. And so when people say, well, maybe someone is so-and-so is all about the business, it might be fair to reframe that a little bit and look at that as not a negative thing, but that we're truly here to teach you and to reinforce for ourselves the importance of everyday life. Really is leadership in your home, then your community, and it transfers out from there. So everything we do with essential oils really plays a role in what we do in our home, in our community, and then spreads across the nation to the world, right? So these are just quick tips. And my tip today is going to be on Copaiba. And I love this essential oil and was really excited when it was released here in the United States through doTERRA. And I know that there are other companies who are providing this, but doTERRA's chemistry on this is truly the best and the highest in chemical compounds that I've seen. So the medicinal value of this essential oil is extremely high. And so I wanted to share with you an experience that I had with this, and then I want to answer some questions and concerns that people have been having on this in relation to CBD and THC levels of because people are saying, well, this will replace marijuana oil, right, or CBD oil. And so I'm going to do that afterwards. So let's go to my story. So right this before I was to leave to go to Arizona to help our Arizona team do some activities and then head straight to Europe from there, I woke up into bed. So there is a pattern for me, and it's due to cortisol levels. So Friday night, I had not gotten sleep because I had a deadline to meet for a book that I am participating in. And in that, I stayed up all night long, had an aromatouch training on Saturday. And so as a part of that, I didn't get any sleep. I did this aromatouch training, and the only sleep I got was when I fell asleep on the aromatouch bed with my trainers. And so I came home and had a normal evening, and I went to bed in the middle of the night. I woke up on Sunday morning, early in the middle, with a terrible migraine, just kind of in the back of my head. And I thought, okay, I've just got to sleep this off, And so I put that on, which was next to my bed. Put that on with a, yeah.
You're really bad bandwidth, and you're going in and out. So this is a little hard to understand you.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, because this is really important. I want to make sure it gets clear from you.
I have 104 bars. I wonder what's going on. Is this better?
Because you're still in red and it has network band. Okay, now you're back. Yep, right there. Stay right there.
Okay. All right, I will. So where do I need to go back to?
You fell asleep on the table.
Okay, for aroma touch. And what I have found is there's this magic mixture of, if my cortisol levels get really high in my body, time my levels of hormones are really high, I fall into this really bad migraine state, and it aids and abates that. So this is what happened to me. And so in the middle of the night, Saturday night, I woke up with a terrible migraine brewing, and I thought, okay, I have aroma touch and lemongrass next to my bed. I will drink the water that I have next to me, and then I will put this on, and I should be fine. Well, I wasn't. I woke up at 7 o'clock, really in a lot of pain, and I got up and I drank some water thinking it was dehydration, and went laid in bed from 7 till about 8:30, and then I got up, and the pain was excruciating. And so I went and I laid down, and my husband said, "Is there anything I can do for you?" And I said, "No." And I immediately started throwing up for 2.5 hours. The pain was excruciating, and I was ready to have him take me to the hospital. And I get these kind of headaches like once a year, but they always are part of this whole not getting sleep, being stress levels being high, whether it's being traveling or whatnot. So I have to just be really careful. And what it does is it throws my liver into a tizzy fit, which then causes this reaction to throw up and vomit. So I said, "Where's the Copaiba?" And he went and he got it for me, and I managed to stop throwing up, and I put 2 drops of Copaiba under my tongue and applied 2 drops to the back of my neck, and I put the covers over my head, and I went to sleep. And I slept from 11 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon, and when I woke up, I was totally fine. I could not believe that. Normally with that kind of a headache, it lasts for me, the residual effects, for about 3 days, and I had nothing, not a hint of fog, not a hint of pain, nothing, you guys. It was amazing. And so that is my tip for high inflammation, pain. It helped with the nausea. And it was just an amazing experience to me to be able to have that work so fast when nothing has ever worked like that before. And we threw a dinner party that night, So it was, there's Copaiba. So does anybody have any questions about that before I move on to the chemical chemistry piece? And nothing? Okay. So there's a big concern about, CBD and THC being in this, and there's just no reason to even worry about this because it doesn't have CBD or THC, because guess what? It's not from the marijuana plant. It comes from the Brazilian tree, Copaiba tree, and it's not related in any way, shape, or form to marijuana. What it does have in common with marijuana is its ability to take pain receptors, right? And with pain receptors, it can lowers very quickly with inflammation, like marijuana oil, which is CBD and has the THC. So it doesn't have any of those negative effects because it's not related to the marijuana plant in any way, shape, or form. It's not related to hemp in any way, shape, or form. So we don't need to be worrying about the effects of CBD. We don't need to worry about the effects of this because it's not part of the plant. It's not going to be even part of the chemistry. So I have people writing me and asking me questions like, well, how can you confirm it? Well, you can't unless you're willing to go and take a drug test, which you can take a drug test and you can put it. What you can do is you can take a drug test from pharmacies and do it at home, and you'll see that there's not anything there. So you're not doing an official drug test where somebody's going to turn it into an employer. You can go to CVS or Walgreens or end of a drugstore that you have and take your own drug test and know that there's not any kind of devaluation there. So that's what I wanted to kind of clear up, because there's been a lot of concern and a lot of talk about this. But it's not related to this plant in any way, shape, or form. It comes from the Copaiba tree, which is in the Amazon down in Brazil, and there's no relation to it at all. There's no THC and no CBD in it at all. So, Renee, can you read what's in the chat for me, please?
Yeah, so it affects the pain receptors, but not the inflammation.
It does both. If I didn't make that really clear, it takes the pain receptors and it helps the pain receptors not, it helps the inflammation, because the pain receptors are totally wiped clean. And so because the inflammation is lowered, you're not going to have the pain. So it does both. You can't have one without the other. It's not blocking pain receptors. That's the thing. Whereas drugs often do block pain receptors, so the body feels like it's not having pain, but the inflammation level is out the roof. With many pain medications, you're still having the pain, but your body's not responding to it. So the important part is to reduce the inflammation so that the pain goes away. Is that helpful? Does that answer whoever's question that was?
It was Tanya.
Okay. So, thank you. Okay, I'm glad. Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, Sharon, just two quick things. One is that, my husband had kidney stones, and when he was in pain, Copaiba really helped him. And I was looking for my bottle this morning, and I couldn't find it, and I called him at work, and he said, "Oh, I keep it at work with me now." I don't know why. He's taken off with it. But the other thing is, I have a question about how this would help somebody. I know someone who's doing chemo and radiation right now, and just her prognosis is really, really, really not good. So she doesn't have a long time. They're just trying to extend life at this point, but something to help make her more comfortable. Would Copaiba be a possibility for that?
Actually, with her diagnosis, I'm just curious: are her lungs in question, like the capacity for airflow? Is she dealing with that too, or is it just bodily pain from whatever her diagnosis is?
She has a brain tumor. And so she's just experiencing just pain, and then of course
massive pain.
And the side effects of chemo too are difficult.
Mm-hmm. So my recommendation with working with patients, and even though I didn't go through chemotherapy or radiation, I did experience tremendous amounts of pain from my surgeries, right? From the mastectomy and reconstruction. So when you're talking about the brain, one of the things that's super important is Copaiba is the most powerful essential oil that doTERRA makes. Frankincense coming in next, right, with Melissa. And so I honestly feel like with what she's going through right now, if she were to use, frankincense under the tongue will help with inflammation, Copaiba under the tongue, and on the back of the neck, both of these essential oils are going to be really helpful with decreasing the amount of pain she's experiencing and supporting the body's inflammatory responses, right? And she will probably need to do that 4 to maybe 6 times a day, but 4 to 5 is what I'm guessing, because you have to keep the body saturated with it. She will need to use that, in the morning, and then maybe and then after midday, she will have to use it again after lunch, right? And then sometime in the mid-afternoon, and it depends on what sleep patterns are happening at this time too. So it might be a good idea if she is going to take a mid-morning nap, right, or a mid-afternoon nap, because the body sleeps to be able to reduce the body's stress and help it repair itself. So I would recommend before she goes to sleep that she puts a drop under her tongue and on the back of her neck so that she can really decrease these experiences, and support the body better while it's sleeping so that the inflammation reduces itself. Does that make sense,
Yeah,
Andrea?
yeah. Is it
Yeah.
something that I could mix together for her to just give her one bottle to make it simple?
No. And here's why. Something I learned from Dr. Hill very explicitly 7 years ago when we started. And these two essential oils have really complex chemistries. And the reason why layering is better in many, many, many situations, specifically when you're dealing with the brain and inflammation, inflammation on a knee is different than inflammation in the brain. And so when you're working with chemistry of the brain or inflammation in the brain, layering works way better because every time you put on a layer of essential oil, you're putting the chemistry in the body, and then you're layering it with the next one, which puts in another chemistry so that they're not mixing. And when we mix essential oils, which roller bottles are great, they're wonderful, and I don't want anybody to stop making them because they are effective, but there's difference when you're trying to really pinpoint and target a very specific chemistry that you have to have its full effects. And this is one of those times where you're going to want to only layer because the chemistry will change.
Sharon, we have a chat from from Bonnie. It says, what about diffusing between applying topically and taking internally?
I don't know that Copaiba is a great one to diffuse, to be truthful, Bonnie. And the reason why I say this is that I think breathing it in is fine, but truly the magic of this specific essential oil is truly what it does in the body, the way the chemistry reacts inside the body when it's in the blood system. And we're not getting it in the blood system aromatically when we breathe it in. Okay, so, but you do bring up a good point of what to diffuse, like an all day kind of thing. And I would do emotional oils at that point for the ability to decrease stress, right? And something that's going to uplift the mood. And for every person, that's super different, right? So that's my recommendation, is to have the diffuser running with uplifting and calming essential oils that are really speaking to someone's soul at that point. Does that make sense? Bonnie, is that helpful?
She said, yes, thank you, ma'am.
Yay, I'm happy. Any other thoughts, concerns? Andrea, there's something I just want to say about like ease. When you've got someone who, and doctor's offices, chiropractors, practitioners of any kind, having rollerball inserts that they can put onto their bottle is really pretty critical for these guys. Because it is easy to use. It's all about ease. And so I would just recommend getting some stainless steel rollerball tops, which come from my oil supply is a really good place to get them. And I don't think that I've seen them at Aroma Tools yet, but there are places to get them. So if you just say stainless steel essential oil roller ball, you can get these. doTERRA had them at one point, but they haven't brought them back in a really long time. But these are very helpful in turning any 15 milliliter bottle into a roller ball. So that's my recommendation. Any other things, you guys? All right. So with that said, I want to thank you all for joining me. And people always ask at this point, well, what's the best way for me to purchase my essential oils? And that is on the loyalty reward program. Even if you're making a mid-month, oh my gosh, I forgot this, and you're not redeeming your points, the loyalty reward program is a great way to get rebate points back into your account or beef up those points so that you can accumulate and then spend it on gifts for your family or those expensive essential oils you don't really want to spend money on because you're trying to get the essentials in your home. So this is a really, really great way to be able to just make, and this is a customizable, this is not an auto ship program. And a lot of people get really caught up in that. And it's really important to understand that it's not an auto ship. It ships every month, but it's customizable. And you get an email that reminds you, hey, your order's coming up, customize it. And let me share with you a little tip on what I do, what my husband and I do. When I get an essential oil that's coming to, about that much left in the bottle, I will flip it upside down in its container so that I know that I need to get another one of those. And when I get my order, when I get my order, I immediately go in and go, what else do I need, right? So we always get Lifelong Vitality, 1 or 2 packs every single month. And then we get the kids' vitamins and the PB Assist Plus Junior always comes. And then we fill in the gaps of what we need oil-wise, okay? So that's what we do. And so I know, what do I need? And I ask myself, and we just go through and we add those on. And then when we get the little email reminder, or I know what the 10% off product is at the beginning of the month, I'll usually go in, make my changes, and push click process now. And what happens is then it automatically just goes. And so this is just a really easy way for you to manage your loyalty reward program and still be able to obtain all the percentage back. Getting 30% back on an order is a big deal. Nobody pays you that kind of money. So love the loyalty reward program and pay it forward by opening your mouth and sharing your secrets with other people. So these programs are all these golden drops. You can share the links to them with your friends and your family, but better yet, invite them to be live, especially people who are like, well, I'm not sure. What is this whole essential oil gig about, right? Join them to be with us on these weekly calls when they're kind of wanting to know who you work with and who are these people. We really, really would love to be able to have them into our fold and be able to have them enjoy our community and know that they're not going to waste their money when they buy essential oils because we won't let them. So you guys, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, Renee, for being part of this community all the time with all your love and support. We really appreciate you. And thank you guys for joining us today, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.